and yet we raise only £10 billion in taxes from smoking. So we want to make this choice as simple as possible, both for adults to help them quit, but also we want to help parents support their children to ensure that they never ever take up this incredibly addictive.
But the problem with that is, Victoria,
possible, both for adults to help them quit, but also we want to help parents support their children to ensure that they never ever taxes from smoking.
So, Victoria wants to save people from detrimental health effects of smoking, which we all want people to be healthy, and smoking is not good. I quitted smoking. To be honest, it was quite easy, although I cannot quit eating as easily. Although I had cut down on eating while I was going out and exercising, but the council seemed to want to depress us all by their depressing, destructive planning applications which are ruining the area, and then no one wants to go out anymore. You know? Anyway, so this woman, she's appearing on television. She's an elected MP. She's speaking to the public.
So we want to make this choice.
Look, I'm a normal person. I'm speaking to you now in a normal, this is normal. I'm a normal lady. Look at me. I'm not shouting. I'm not annoyed. I'm very normal. You could go down to the library and speak to me, or in a meeting. Look.
Simple as possible.
So I'm a very normal woman talking seriously. But you're presenting a bill, Victoria, that discriminates against who can do what based on their age and how old they are and when they were born. And that is age discrimination. Now, 1 minute, Victoria, you're talking in this manner and demeanour like this.
Both for adults to help them quit.
Very normal. It's like a librarian. I'm a normal woman. I've got a family. I walk down the supermarket and buy toilet paper in the aisle. I'm very serious. Victoria, right? You were standing in Parliament and making speeches with people about people that we should not discriminate against each other to do with age, sex, race, right? And you stand in Parliament and you say that in the most serious possible tone, right? Trying to be serious. Trying to be a serious person who is speaking coherently, logically, and maturely. And now you are proposing a bill which will implement a law which will make something illegal, regardless for what period it is that you're phasing it out, for a period of time that is going to discriminate between how old you are and when you were born for what you can do or not do, Victoria. When you are adamantly putting legislation through to the contrary to say that we are not going to say one sex can do this and the other sex do that. We're not going to say that men and women should have different wages. Men and women should be able to do work, all types of work, whether they want to be a scientist or a lawyer or manual labour. But if it's a goal you want to achieve, for better or worse, even if it's for the good of society, you want to actually make more discrimination. So that means that either you don't really believe in discrimination, or as long as it's you making the rules, you can discriminate against people. It's okay as long as you're doing it for the better good. You might as well be Gail Bradbrook putting the window through, right, of the Department of Transport, Victoria. You might as well be Gail Bradbrook putting the window through in the Department of Transport front lobby, because she's got an excuse. And you seem to have an excuse. You're doing it for the good of the country. Like Gail believes she's doing it for the good of the country, Victoria, right? That's the problem. Why base the bill? No one's saying that banning smoking is a good or bad thing. But why not have the balls to just ban it? Oh, because they won't elect us next time. Well, maybe you could make sacrifices of losing the election. Maybe you would put the bill through, base it on, let's just ban smoking, and then they will elect you next time, but you might save the country, Victoria. Why don't you sacrifice? Make sacrifices. No, instead, you want to encourage and base new laws on a discriminative principle of age, who can and can't, when you walk out of that room and into another room, and then you're preaching a sermon of it's bad and illegal to discriminate through age, sex or religion, Victoria. So to me, I think that you are inciting criminality, that you're legislating. You're making rules up as you go along that you don't believe in them. You don't believe in them. How about I discriminated against a woman because really it would be better for her? How about I turn up outside an abortion clinic to talk someone down because it would be better for the baby to live and not die? Oh, they're doing it for the greater good. Priti Patel, Victoria, doesn't believe that for the greater good of the life of a child, that someone should talk them down from abortions, right? Even though they might think it's the greater good, they're making it illegal. So why is it lawful for you, Victoria, right? Why can you, as a mature woman who you might walk into in a library and speak to like this, I'm a perfectly normal woman, I'm very, very sensible, but you're discriminating against people, Victoria, in law. Now, I actually think it's a corrupt and illegal practice. What you're doing in Parliament is you are actually intending to create and encourage age discrimination. You're actually encouraging the nation to engage in and actually believe in the principle and practice of age discrimination, just so you can achieve your goals. Now, if that is the best method to achieve goals, and if that's a useful method to achieve goals, why aren't we all doing it, Victoria? Why aren't we all making the best use out of discrimination to achieve goals if it will be better for someone in the long run, like Asian gentlemen and women? Why don't we use a clever discrimination method, but in the future it might work out better for them? Like, for example, if the BNP use a clever discrimination to keep them out of the country so they can't come back in again, but in the future it'll be better for them because there won't be any racial discrimination. Would that be an acceptable method for you, Victoria, to solve the problem? Do you or do you not think age discrimination is a useful tool and people should be using it to achieve their goals, Victoria? Or do you think that a different approach with the bill to ban smoking, which wasn't based on the principle of periods of age discrimination and encouraging the discrimination of age to achieve your goals? And my final point is this. If it can be proved that what you are intending to do is create discrimination, I believe, now that I understand privilege, parliamentary privilege and how it works, I believe you can be prosecuted in a court of law. You can be prosecuted through the Corrupt and Illegal Practices Prevention Act, you can be put before a civil court in the High Court. They can hear the facts and circumstances, and they're allowed to make an order on whether what you're planning to do or doing is discriminating against age or not. Whether or not you go to prison or not is a different matter for privilege. But in the Corrupt and Illegal Practices Act, what I have learned is, even though you're an MP, right, with privilege, I can prosecute you. You can be prosecuted in the High Court for crimes, even if you don't go to prison for it. It can be decided that what you're doing is either wrong or unlawful. Now, the thing is that you're the one who gets to decide what the law is and isn't, right? Illegal prosecutions by the King's Bench for matters that are only cognisable only in Parliament, right? Well, guess what? I can report you to the Lord Chief Justice, who is a Member of Parliament of England. So try to emphasise. I can report you to the Lord Chief Justice for intention to discriminate and create and encourage age discrimination in England, which you're actually pretending that you want to get rid of. You're pretending that it's a bad thing. You've spent the last 10 years trying to eradicate discrimination by making every discrimination law possible under the sun nearly, and now you're going to use it when you fancy. So you can use it and encourage people to do it, but you made it illegal. So how is your bill going to work? Seriously, Victoria, you need a different approach. How about we ban smoking? I won't get elected next year, but I'll have saved the country. Like, you know, the Archbishop of Canterbury then can be proud of you for sacrificing yourself to save the country. But instead, you want to rack up a load of new laws. Oh, you know, you looked at someone funny, or, you know, you can't say someone's a man or a woman or whatever, but you want to have people hanging around on the streets. Oh, you were born in, you know, this year, you were born in that year, you can do something you can't. You know, which, fair enough when it's driving or something like that. But the fact is, you're actually trying to, you pretend that you're working against discrimination, but now you're trying to enact more discrimination. Oh, but it'll be all right when it's phased out in a few years. Well, you know, why don't we say then, oh, it's all right to discriminate someone as long as it's only for 5 years. Let's have racial discrimination for 5 years. Or let's have sexual discrimination for 5 years, you know. Or let's have, you know, religious discrimination for 5 years if it's for the better. No, you want more age discrimination. It really is a weak bill. It's a feeble bill. It's a ridiculous, illogical, and pathetic method in light of your ongoing battle to fight discrimination. It's so ridiculously against the law, it's not compatible with legislation. It's incompatible with legislation. It's contrary to legislation. And I think that you can be prosecuted in the Supreme Court or the High Court through the Corrupt and Legal Practices Act for planning to encourage an illegal practice of age discrimination. And the Supreme Court could decide that it is or is not, it would or would not be age discrimination. Whether or not you went to prison or not for it is a different matter, but you would lose your vote. That's for sure. You know, you can be put before the High Courts. And I think they're allowed. They're allowed to make a decision on the subject, particularly if it's House of Lords, although the House of Lords get to look at the bill anyway. You know, if the House of Lords don't think that bill is age discrimination, then I don't know what is age discrimination. Really, you would have thought you would have come out with some better ideas for producing a bill rather than using age discrimination in order to reach your objectives.